All right, first question will go to Tony.
Okay, Kevin, can you give a better explanation of why
You're done.
DTR was activated ahead of Winston, and did he get enough practice time to be prepared for seeing action?
Yeah, kind of like we talked about yesterday, Tony. I think going into the season, I felt like both guys were worthy of being the backup quarterback. I told those guys that early in the season. Felt like with not having that short yardage package with Jameis in this last game, felt like Dorian had acquitted himself well in practice and in his preparation to make him the backup. That's the story.
And the other thing is, it was the first time we saw Deshaun on the snake. Why did you make the decision that he would execute that play rather than Winston? During the week, you made that decision, obviously.
Yeah, again, that's something that Jameis obviously has done well in his career, but not having him up in the game, then it just became Deshaun would do that.
Okay.
All right, next we'll go to Scott.
Hey, Kevin. When it comes to Dorian, or is the information you're looking for whether or not he's going to need surgery on the finger?
I'd say all of the above. Just need to hear from a couple other people, but I feel good about him being available this season. Is it this week? Okay. Is it next week? I just need more information.
Gotcha. And do you know which kind of surgery Deshaun's going to have? Is he going to have the kind that Rodgers had?
I do not know.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, next we'll go to Ashley.
Kevin, just I guess what's the action from the rest of the team to this over these less than 24 hours now? Just another obviously big personnel loss for you guys with Deshaun.
Yeah, that's obviously we're disappointed when we lose anybody, Ashley, to injuries. That's a very, very, very unfortunate part of our game. So it's tough. So we feel bad for Deshaun in this case, feel bad to lose him for the season. And we also know as a football team, this is where you have to step up. Guys have to step up, and that's just how it goes.
And then since you got asked about Dorian a little bit already, but if it is Jameis that's starting next week, just what you've seen from him in his time here so far.
Yeah, Jameis has done a nice job really going all the way back to since he's gotten here, understanding how we operate, what we do. Feel really confident in Jameis as well.
All right, next one, Mary Kay.
Yeah, I know you don't know yet, Kevin, if you would start Dorian, but because of the health of his finger and everything, but what would be maybe some reasons that you would want to see him more this season? Do you guys have to figure out if he can be your quarterback going forward or if he can compete for a job?
Yeah, I understand the question, Mary Kay. I'm not really there, though. My thought process is really day to day in this business right now, and so we'll see how he comes out of this injury, see what the doctors say and that type of thing, and then we'll make our decisions.
Okay, thanks.
All right, next we'll go to Jeff.
Hey, Kevin, more of a big picture question. If you could look back to the beginning, where do you think this season went sideways when everybody expected so much from you guys?
Yeah, I understand the question, Jeff. I'm not really in that mode yet. That's for end of the season type things. I will tell you, this is sports. This is football. Teaches you a lot about yourself. You don't always get what you want. You put in a lot of work and you don't always get that result you want, but you just have to respond. That's really where we're focused.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next we'll go to Daniel.
Hear me?
Yes, got you now.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin. I know. Throughout the start to the season, you were defended and kind of supported Deshaun as a starting quarterback. In your opinion and your kind of viewpoint, the team said you expect a full recovery when he does come back. Is it still your belief that he is this team's starting quarterback?
Yeah, obviously I believe in Deshaun, but I also think it's important just to acknowledge that he just had a bad injury and bad break for him, and we're feeling bad for him and know that he'll bounce back, but not getting into all those things down the road. I'm looking forward to him getting the surgery and obviously getting his body back.
All right, next we'll go to Daryl.
Yeah, Kevin, I want to go back to DTR as the number 2 quarterback for a moment. You said yesterday that the backup quarterbacks, they don't get reps with the ones in practice. So my question is, how do you prepare a guy for a potential package usage in a game if they don't get those
One more time, Daryl.
I'm just wondering how you prepare DTR for that package of reps that you said yesterday you thought about using him, and that's why you made the switch to elevate him to the number 2 quarterback. Just how do you prepare him for that if he's not getting those first team reps in practice?
Yeah, I have to be clear then. So our ones get all the reps in practice. If there's a package of plays for a player, he would get those reps in a practice. This was not the decision to put Dorian as a number 2 was not because of a certain package of plays. We didn't have a specific set of plays for Dorian in that game. We made him the backup quarterback, so he would serve in that role if there was an injury. And obviously we were not hoping for that. That was unfortunate how that played out. But it was really, I guess, to be clear, Jameis had a short yardage package in the previous weeks where he was going in. So he gets those reps in practice because we didn't have that in. And I felt like Dorian had done a nice job throughout practice, throughout really the spring and summer. That really was the decision. It wasn't about any sort of package for Dorian.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that. And then I know you said you don't want to reflect on big picture as far as how and why this thing has gone the way it has in the first 7 games. My question to you now is, considering where you're at right now, how do you get this thing on track or keep this from getting worse, both on the field as well as, in the locker room with player frustrations and things like that?
Yeah, I think anybody, anytime, Daryl, when you lose, it's no fun. There's pain in that, and we don't love that feeling. But our guys understand that our goal is just to win. Just we want to win this game, this next, and all we can focus on, all we can control is this next one. Can't do anything about what's happened in the past, and I think we have a group that really understands that.
All right, next we go to Cam.
Hey, Kevin, it's maybe a little similar to Daryl's question, but after the game yesterday, a lot of players were voicing their frustrations with maybe the reaction from Deshaun's injury. So I just wonder, as the head coach of this team, what's the messaging to your players who may have been extremely frustrated by that, making sure that that doesn't spiral into anything more than it was?
Yeah, our guys are certainly supporting their teammate. I understand the emotions of it. Like I mentioned yesterday, I don't think there's a place for booing players that are injured, whether it's your own team, the opponents. I think everybody understands that. And I also know that's not everybody in that building. So, disappointed, but we're moving forward.
All right. And then on another note, Nick Chubb, obviously his first game back, he was limited in that second half. How did he come out of that one? And maybe what does the week look like for him in terms of a workload preparation?
Yeah, he came out okay. I think it's important, again, that he, builds on this week, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Thank you.
All right, next we go to Chris.
Hey, Kevin, two just real quick questions. One, will you guys sign another quarterback, add another quarterback either to the active roster or the practice squad?
I think yes, but not exactly sure where that goes just yet.
Also, you mentioned Jack at the toward the end of yesterday. Any update on where he's at? Was it just precautionary, just something to get him out of the game?
Yeah, he was dealing with something, but I think he should be good to go.
Thanks.
All right, next we go to Spencer.
Hey, Coach. First off, just obviously another week where pre-snap penalties have been an issue for you guys. I know after last week, we kind of asked Deshaun just like, what can you do differently? But from your vantage point, like how much of that from a coaching standpoint can you guys do to fix those problems that continue to just kind of persist? Yeah, it's something that you emphasize in practice. You certainly emphasize in meetings. You emphasize during the game. Those are
totally self-inflicted, nothing that the defense is doing. It's our guys. And it's not just one position. It's multiple guys that have to understand that the way they call the illegal shifts is you can't have two guys moving at the same time, and we have to be better. And it really is ultimately my responsibility, but it's the responsibility of our coaches, our players, to play within these rules and how they're officiating them.
And then we know how much this offense was kind of geared between you and Ken, sort of designing it for Deshaun throughout the offseason. How much can you change? Do you change if you go from Deshaun to Dorian to Jameis? What does that kind of look like? Is there different things you sort of institute depending on who's under center?
Yeah, I think you have to do that as an offense. Is you're always leaning into what your quarterbacks are most comfortable with. So that'll be true, certainly, moving forward.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, next we'll go to Justin.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you about a specific play. Jedrick Will seemed to miss an assignment on that Dorian Thompson-Robinson sack, and he threw his hands up in the air. Looked like he was expecting someone off the edge and kind of let Trey Hendrickson come right through the line and get to DTR. Have you looked back on that play? And if you did, like, what exactly did you see on that play?
Yeah, I have. I don't, as you can imagine, we make corrections in the building with our players and that type of thing. Obviously, that's not what we want to do on that play. We need to be better.
Thank you.
All right, last one from Mary Kay.
Yeah, Kevin, how hard was it to get a true read on Deshaun's value and worth this season? And do you feel like you really know who he is as a quarterback at this point in his career?
Yeah, I understand the question, Mary Kay, and I feel badly for Deshaun with this injury. This is a tough break for him, but I know he will bounce back. But he's been a great contributor to this football team, both in the locker room, on the practice field, on the game field, and we'll just support him as he rehabs from that injury.
But can you assess at all how well he played for you in under very trying circumstances with so much going on around him? And do you believe that if some things were different, could he fare better out there on the field?
Yeah, and again, I'm disappointed that it's only X number of games that he's able to play this season. But I do think we know what he's about. I know what he brings to the table for this football team.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that wraps us up. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there you go. Kevin Stefanski at the podium. Browns dropped to 1-6 with a loss to Cincinnati on Sunday that also included the loss of their quarterback, Deshaun Watson. He is done for the season with an Achilles injury. Z is here. I am here. Andrew Siciliano is right over there. He'll join us in here momentarily. Look, there are not a whole lot of answers from Kevin in that availability in terms of what this looks like going forward or what this looks like in the rearview mirror. This much is very true and 100% accurate. Things have changed a great deal in a week. 1 week ago on Tuesday, you and I were doing a show at UH, and we got the news of the trading of Amari Cooper, and now here we sit 6 days later, and Amari Cooper catches a touchdown for Buffalo, and Deshaun Watson is lost for the year for the second consecutive season. Happy Monday.
Yeah, I mean, we were headed, it feels like, into this direction. Obviously not the injury to Deshaun, but just a direction of where the Cleveland Browns, and we talked about it last week, would be sellers. Amari did go to Buffalo. I don't know if you saw he dropped his first pass, and they were unkind to him in Buffalo.
Didn't. I saw Keon Coleman say you go this way, and then Zink. I saw that.
After that, it was all very good.
All very good.
He ended up leading their leading receiver, caught a touchdown, all of that. But he did drop his first one. They were a little in Buffalo. Like,
hey, we're not going to have that.
Hey. Yeah. No, but this is. I said it yesterday on the broadcast, and I mean this in all sincerity. It is unfathomable to think that we would be here in reality when we convened at the Greenbrier. This was not even remotely a possibility or a possible outcome for this football team. Then you mentioned the Amari trade. I was stunned at the time. Not that Amari got traded this year, but that it happened before we'd even played a divisional game. and now we have played a divisional game, which we have lost. I think you're getting to the point now in this season where, yeah, you're going to listen. Zadarius Smith's got 4 sacks. He's playing well. There are teams out there that are trying to contend that need edge rushers, and Detroit, Washington certainly come to mind. I think you have to kind of assess everything right now. I think you listen to every phone call. I think there are a few that you certainly would not listen to. I think, guys like Miles and Denzel and JOK and, Delpit and some of your younger guys, I don't think you would listen to anything at all. But I think you have to listen and you have to say, okay, this is where we are. The only way to get out of it is to have some pretty darn good draft classes.
Consecutively, yeah.
Yeah.
Stack them.
And that's going to be, the way that you can kind of pull up this unfortunate, what is at this point, it's a nosedive. I mean, we've lost, by my math, I think it's right, 5 in a row.
5, yeah.
0-3 at home, all of that. It's terribly depressing. It is a situation that, as I said, kind of unfathomable. It was shocking to see that the Browns, this is where this team is. The return of Nick Chubb is overshadowed now by not only another loss, now the season-ending injury to Deshaun Watson, players and fans, all of these things that, again, are the things that happen when, it's not going the way that it was supposed to go. I think there were some, we can get in the game, and there were good things. The defense played great, honestly.
Defense was great. Yeah,
defense gave up a third down conversion until the third quarter.
Yeah, they were great.
They were 0 for 8 at one point.
What did they end up? Like 3 of 18 or something? 3 of 16 on third down?
Whatever it was very good. And it was 0 of 8 when it still mattered. They were 2 of 13. Yeah. And 0 for 1 on fourth down. So, you've got some things here that are good, but I do think at the end you're going to have to make some very difficult decisions. And I think, obviously we'll start at the quarterback position. What I want for DTR, and I believe DTR is the only internal solution that could be something for a while.
The only possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Internal.
Yes, internal.
On a rookie deal, for example, should, if Jameis were to play the rest of the way and lights it up, that's financially going to become more difficult. DTR is on a rookie 5th-round contract.
Yep.
You know exactly what it is. That is. So, again, DTR's got a little bit of a finger issue. I want him to have a full good shot. So I'm thinking finger issue, Ravens coming to town.
No. Yeah.
Play Jameis the next 2 weeks. And look, if something goes wild and he's great, you can keep it going. But I think what you really want is coming out of the bye week. 8 games, starting in New Orleans in a dome, feels like a good place to start.
Yep.
8 games of DTR to say, okay, can Dorian Thompson-Robinson be our Purdy? Because the Niners, and now they're having their own issues this year, and cost me in the scores back in my father on his birthday. By the way, great week for you. Good job.
Thanks, buddy.
Good job.
Thanks. Yeah.
I was middling, but once we diversified our portfolios, iron was unkind to your boy yesterday.
So we were, that's what it's.
We were
in lockstep, and then
we were in lockstep, and then we split
on
off.
the split offs. Most
KC,
went my
San
way.
Francisco, and Pittsburgh, and the Jets in the later window. The later window unkind to me.
All right. Well, look.
Wait. Sorry. Even one more. Carolina, Washington. There you go. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're 9 up right now. I'm 6 up.
Yeah.
But yeah, San Francisco pulled out of that and was able to go to Super Bowls and all that because of Brock Purdy, which is in many ways dumb luck.
He's literally the last player picked.
In the
they
draft.
Stumbled into him, and because they had everything else, they got a pass for the Trey Lance situation, and they made it work.
Now, it is not
right
the case here that over the final 8 games, DTR would be stepping into a situation like that. I think we all have to understand that. I do think that that is the internal solution to pull kind of out of this. I think that, look, I jokingly said a couple of weeks ago, 13-4 is still on the table. 11-6 is still on the table. Never would be an unprecedented turnaround. It feels, somewhat unlikely. I believe most recent estimates were either 9-point underdogs to the Ravens or in that realm.
Yeah. Last time it happened, 1970. 1-6 team made the playoffs. It was the Bengals in 1970.
Okay, so
that's a long time.
54 years ago.
It's a long time, Coach.
Well, we're doing things offensively that maybe haven't been done that long. So
no,
can we pull two of them off in 1 year?
That's the
one
thing.
One good, one bad.
That's what makes this. This is just such
stupefying.
It's truly, that's the correct word. It is a stupefying thing to say that we are here before we have reached Halloween. Not that you are eliminated or anything, but rather that everything that you did in this offseason and everything you did pointing towards this season has all been undone. From the hiring of Dorsey for an offense that would fit Deshaun, all of those things are gone. Deshaun is gone now, and his own I just can't imagine. Just set aside what if you can, whatever you think of him, or whatever you think of the situation. Just imagine a human being going with catastrophic injuries in back-to-back seasons.
Yep.
So the news about a year ago, when it was a little more than a year ago, when he got hurt in the game, and it was done, and we got that news, and it was like, man, geez, rehab, and then a whole year will he be back? Like, this is an Achilles, kids. Like,
no.
this is can he play football? Like,
yes,
who knows how long this shoots you out for?
And by the way, anybody who watched last night and watched a guy who was, I think, pretty high in the unlikability factor these days, he's not the same. Aaron Rodgers is
he's not. He can't move.
They had that game won. They were about to go into that game and be up 24-9 at the half, or 20 whatever
they
it was.
Just scored to make it,
or 24-6. It was 15-6.
15-6. Yeah.
And they were going down, and then he throws a pick, and then he throws another pick, and then they get slumped. They got slumped.
Slumped. Yes, they did.
He's got nothing.
No. No, so it's
and they just traded for Devontae Adams.
He's a lot older than Deshaun, and so there's that chance of it. But like, you are now stacking several catastrophic type injuries on top of one after another. So like,
the difference was,
who knows? I guess my point is,
he was by and large a pocket passer beforehand.
That's a great point.
Deshaun not.
No. He was always going to be someone outside the pocket, eyes up, making plays down the field, all of that. It's not just a conversation now, just from a football perspective. It's not a conversation, and I think you laid out a really brilliant plan for DTR in terms of what would make the most sense for the rest of this season. Who knows what Kevin Stefanski is going to do with it? But it's also like your off-season plan, next year's training camp. What offense are you building for what quarterback? Like, everything. We thought we were in the middle of, at the acquisition of Deshaun Watson, you thought you were going to enter into a Super Bowl window. That was the expectation. You were signing the number one quarterback in the NFL the last time he played. Led the league in quarterback rating. That's who you signed. And then
he was the all-time leader in
he was the
quarterback
all-time
rating.
leading. People think that's I tell people, no, he was. That's what he was. So now that is, by the time, and who knows if he plays next year, who knows what that even looks like. You're like 5 years removed from that. I mean, it's who he was at acquisition and what you thought you were getting. You thought you were entering into a championship window where it was like all of our young stars were coming into their prime all at the same time. You had these young guys who were coming up, second contracts for JOK and Delpit, and everything was kind of coming together. And then all of a sudden now it's exploded. And what do we do now? I have no idea. I think you laid out a very good plan. I don't know what Kevin and AB and Paul, what their plan is.
No, these aren't scores at all.
No, this is just us spitballing, because
we have to.
I think what you laid out makes all the sense in the world, but I don't know. I don't know what this looks like, and I don't think anything here would be guesswork at this point in terms of what this week looks like, what the next 3 weeks looks like, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. It's all in play. I don't know. This is not in the brochure.
No, this was a team that was built to contend for a championship. And you think about the investment that's been made into it by ownership, who has spared no expense. You talk about cash over cap, all of it. And that's the one thing, that drives me nuts, and I'll say it again for people who still don't believe it. It's 100% true. The Haslams have provided every available resource and amenity for this coaching staff, for the players, for the front office, for everybody to execute their vision of what the 2024 Cleveland Browns should be. And they don't make decisions. That's their decision. We will support you. You, our guys, are running it, and it has not worked. And so you are at a little bit of a crossroads here in terms of This season is clearly not going to be what you had thought it was going to be. So what do we do going forward? And unfortunately, this is familiar for Browns fans, but was not supposed to be familiar this year. You are right now, I think, playing the rest of 2024 with 1 foot in 2024 and 1 foot in 2025 and beyond, because that's just the reality of where you are. 1-6 in the division. You're behind you're last in your division. That just has to be the reality of it. So what does that mean? To me, it starts with the quarterback position. Jameis Winston at this point in his career is not going to be a long-term solution.
No.
DTR, 5th-round pick. I believe in him. I like him a lot. Do I know that he can be that? I don't. But we have to see if he can make it through 8 games. Because last time, Joe Flacco only becomes a thing because he gets hurt against Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he doesn't get hurt, maybe Joe Flacco doesn't happen, and maybe DTR has a good season. Who knows what happens? But I'm glad that year worked out the way it did, because Flacco Fever sure was a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
DTR is the one guy in our building that has an opportunity, because of where he is on his rookie salary, to give you kind of that 2-year bridge to whatever it is. Now, it very well may be that you're drafting a quarterback early in the draft next year. That is totally possible and likely at this point, right? And I think that's the thing with DTR, too. You find out, okay, can he do it? And if the answer is no, that probably will lead to a record that allows you to be at the top anyway. I hope he can. I think it would be a great story. I like the kid a great deal. I have a great deal of respect for Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the way he conducts himself, the way he goes about his business, his leadership. You could tell him getting on the field, energized the sideline yesterday. And I still go back and think that 4th down play changed the whole game. There was some momentum from the Browns. Obviously, another missed extra point at a very important time, and D-Hop, got, to his credit, he goes and speaks to the media and says, I blew it. I messed up.
Owns it.
But that 4th down play, you complete that, and what it comes down to is Deontay Foreman missing a block on Von Bell. You make that block, it's an easy pitch and catch to Chubb. The play call worked. And maybe it is a different game, because that was the momentum flip, and then they go down. T. Higgins on the slant breaks Cam Mitchell's tackle. It's a touchdown. You get the Chase touchdown, and then it's that's it. It's a totally different ball game at that point. But I think that's got to be the idea. And guys, like I said, guys like Za'Darius and people that you can trade to recoup assets without having big dead cap hits are probably the most prime candidates. It's like in the NBA, you trade your expiring contracts.
Absolutely, yeah.
So people who don't have guaranteed money left, that's where you're going to be looking, I think, to move. And, this feels like a time, and I'll even say a name, a guy that, and this would to me be up to what he wanted.
Sure, yeah.
But like Joel Bitonio. I think Joe, the Hoff, under Truth Serum, would he have liked to have gone down that parallel universe and go and play with Peyton Manning and win a Super Bowl in Denver? And
remember when I asked him?
Yes,
and he
kind of blew his brain.
He never even had the idea to think about it in his head. And then when you say it to him and you say, what if, and then you envision all that could have come with that.
Right. Do you give Joel Bitonio the opportunity? If he says, no, I want to finish my career, great. Love to have you. He's battling out there.
Yeah, he is.
You can
There's
tell
a lot of guys,
he's been in the league for a great deal of time. You can tell he's got some maladies that he's dealing with. He's given you all he got. Still only allowed 1 pressure yesterday, but there were times where he got, had some tough situations out there, but he's giving you everything you want. Every team in the league, I would say probably 90% of the teams in the league would invite him into their starting lineup in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think those are the discussions that are going to have to be had. What are we now? And we can't just think about now. I think in the Greenbrier, it was all about 2024.
Yes.
And that's what makes it so disappointing, is that for me, you look at this team and the talent on paper and the fact that it hasn't yielded what you would have expected it to is so disappointing. But you have to deal with the reality of the situation now. And the reality of that situation is that you cannot make decisions from here on forward based solely on 2024. They clearly understand that, which is why Amari Cooper was traded. Again, I don't know why there was some need in certain circles to besmirch him on his way out. I thought he was a great pro and a great Cleveland Brown, and the history books will show him as the only Brown ever to have back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons, single-game receiving yardage leader, made so many big plays for this organization, and certainly wish him well in Buffalo. But the fact that he was traded tells you already that they are aware that this is not a 2 feet full body immersed in 2024 anymore.
Correct.
There is an eye to the future, and that's unfortunately what it's got to be. It is terribly disappointing, being there and thinking of the juxtaposition of what it's like to be at Cleveland Browns Stadium, Huntington Bank Field, right now versus what it was not even a year ago, 10 months ago in November and in December, 9 months ago. It's crazy.
It's impossible to
or
comprehend.
11 months, at my math's bad, 11 months ago.
Yeah. No, it's impossible to comprehend.
It's
that it's come to this.
It is, and I think that at least you feel for Deshaun in terms of suffering an injury like that, non-contact, just devastating. You could see the emotion on his face. You could see the respect of his peers, which I noted on the broadcast. Everybody was there. Every coach, every player on the sideline was around him. If they don't like you you're not getting that.
No.
So it further solidifies what you already probably in your heart of hearts knew to be true about what the direction things are going for 2024 and what you need to do. And I think if you are the Cleveland Browns right now, you have to have the mindset, because we talked about this is a very significant injury for Deshaun Watson. And you have to wonder, like you said, will he ever play again? I think it's a fair question. It's just unfortunate because you never want that to happen. You want people to go out on their own terms. But your priority one now has to be, as it has been, unfortunately, for a great, great many years, is to find that quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to start with the most obviously available options to you, which would be DTR in this building, and then look into the draft. And I think, unfortunately, that's where this team is right now, being realistic about it. Of course, we all want miracles. I would love a miracle. I'd like to go. Listen, we beat the Niners, an undefeated Niners team with P.J. Walker last year.
Jameis come in, rattle off 6 in a row, let's go, or whatever.
Sure.
Like everybody is rooting for that, but you also have to be.
But if it's not
that,
that's when you have to give DTR an opportunity to prove that, maybe he wants to make you think about how you're approaching the offseason in 2025, right? That's
I agree.
That's his goal,
for sure,
to make you think about how do we really approach the offseason.
And you have to know what he is,
yeah,
before you can do that. Those are your hot topics of the day, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. Andrew Siciliano standing right over there. He's going to join us coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. OBM, the preferred provider of copiers and document services for your Cleveland Browns. They'll tackle any size office. That number is 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. Andrew Siciliano on the call yesterday with Z on the Cleveland Browns radio network.
You read the OBM thing so much better than me because I'm trying to go so fast to get it in between plays. Well done.
No, I thought you did a great job. I heard one of your reads.
I'm not fishing. I'm just saying.
I think
well
you
done
did
to you.
have.
Thank you.
I think you had one of those, which was while
Generally
I was listening.
do. I'm impressed.
We had a little AAU tryout that we had to deal with, and then en route, so I missed a little bit of the game in the first half, and you guys did a very nice job. Well, this is not where we thought we would be. And yesterday's game kind of had all of it. You've had 24 hours to kind of sit back and reflect on everything, and there was a lot that happened. Incredible emotional highs and lows and everything in between.
Yeah, I think that kind of sums it up. I know that what the final drive in Philadelphia last week, Nathan, you pointed out that it was kind of the season in a nutshell, right? You get the explosive, you get down there, you can't cash in, you get the penalties, you get the, it truly had everything. I feel like yesterday's game was kind of like that as well. It truly had everything. It had the emotional high, Nick Chubb and the touchdown, and Nick Chubb coming out of the tunnel. It was a story of perseverance as well, even through those mistakes, because when he did get in on fourth down, it was after miscues. Honestly, I still don't know how Michael Dunn was called for being offsides, and I'm not saying how Michael Dunn lined up offsides. I don't see it on the replay, and if it is, it's by the white of his helmet, the stripe. I don't know how you call that, so how many times does Nick Chubb have to score? But hey, much like Nick Chubb coming back, 13 months, a story of perseverance, the emotional lift that he gave to the team, to the building, to this building, to the locker room. I mean, it was awesome. It was great to see with Winston Reed all hands on deck as a tight end.
Loved it.
On that possession when they got down there. And then the lows. The lows don't need to be repeated, but they are a kick in the gut collectively to every player, everyone in this building, everyone in that stadium, every fan, because we all feel them, and there is a sense of sadness, obviously, but you got to pick yourself up. It's a Monday and move forward somehow, some way.
Yeah, and, the thing that this football team is such a fabric of this region.
Yes.
They are a heartbeat of this region. This region, football was birthed from this region's loins, and so there is a connection that is there, and it's been around a long time. And I was listening actually to Tyvis and Jeff, I think, on the postgame show on the Cleveland Browns radio network, and there was a lady who called in from Louisville, and she talked about how she's been a fan since such and such was the quarterback, and it was a name I'd never heard of. So it predated even Sipe. Like
Mike Phipps?
No. It was way back. I didn't even – it was somebody I feel like I know, but I never heard of the guy. It was probably 60s, 70s. So she was an older lady, and she'd called in, and she was talking to the guys. And obviously this was a vent situation, right? You're venting on a lot of things. And this is emotional stuff because it's losing, so that's disappointment. It's emotional in terms of the quarterback and what happened inside that stadium. It's emotional in terms of our players and some of the comments that they made post-game. It's emotional with fans towards players. There's a lot. And anything where emotion is in play can go off the rails quickly. And she had this call to them, and she said, look, I've been a Browns fan since the 60s, and I love them. I bleed orange and brown. I'll be here this Sunday. I'll be here next Sunday, and I hope that Deshaun can have a surgery and come back and try to inspire guys. And I just thought that's the cockeyed optimism that kind of comes with all of this.
You also need it to get through the day.
Sure, of course you do, because you got to look forward to another Sunday.
Right, and as a sports talk radio host for many years, I used to always be annoyed by those people that started every call by trying to give you their credentials by saying, not credentials necessarily, but by saying, I've been a fan since X. I'm like, all right, I get it, just get to the point.
You're a fan, I'm a fan, we're all fans.
Right, we're all fans. We're all here, let's talk. But in this case, much like the old SEC commercial, it means more here, and I'm paraphrasing, it is real, and that does have meaning, and that does have value, and that does speak to how hard we all take this, and how difficult it is to wake up in the morning and recover.
Yep.
Right. And I'm not the one getting hit either. None of us are getting hit. Right. So that's a whole different kind of recovery that the players wearing that uniform have to go through. But look, you have to look forward because there is no other way. There truly is no other way. You got to move forward. And right now, moving forward is the Ravens. And that's what you have to do, because if you don't do that, you won't win another game. You won't. If you don't turn the page, it's going to be the same story.
Milt Plum.
Milt Plum. There you go.
Milt Plum.
Yeah.
That's who she dropped. 1961.
I was going to say, I was looking at Bill Nelson. I was like,
yeah, Bill Nelson, Milt Plum,
so.
Frank
Milt
Ryan.
Plum, 1960, 61. It's
the commitment.
That's it, brother.
Yeah.
That is. One thing that I think is tough, and we're talking about, passionate fans, and the Browns, I think, have incredibly passionate fans, and I think best fans in the NFL, and I know that right now it feels like there is a tenuous relationship between the fans and the team and the players, especially after everything that went down yesterday. And whether that was just a very small group in a very large setting, it obviously got the attention of the players who fought back pretty strongly, and I know I've seen fans fire back at that. You've grown up with it your whole life. It is a passionate city. It is a city that can get down in tough times, but it's also a city that is resilient, a fan base that's resilient, a fan base that stood by this team through 1-31. And, from your perspective, Andrew, how do you kind of mend those fences, if they even need to be mended, or is it just a matter of simply time and success?
I think time and success will go a long way. I think wins go a long way. And that's not to say that everything is transactional and it's what have you done for me lately, because that is not fair, I think, on either side of that equation. But wins and success in time obviously can cure a lot. I was talking to my brother after the game. He was in, I think, 119. Those are where his season seats are. And he said it was uncomfortable for a second, and then I think he realized when people near him understood the severity, the tone changed very quickly, and that's not to excuse any bad behavior or any cheering, but that inexcusable, absolutely inexcusable. But yeah, said there was some awkwardness, and also thinks that there was some cheers for DTR, which might have overlapped, right, with the cart and Deshaun still getting to the tunnel, and that made it feel more awkward. Just one man's opinion from sitting in the stands with his daughter trying to explain what was going on at the time. But time wins, taking a breath and stepping back and understand why we're all here.
Yep.
Right? It's a game. We're passionate. Without the fans, by the way, none of us have jobs. Like that's how this industry
100%.
That's this entire industry, right? Sport exists because fans love the sport. We love playing the sport. Fans love seeing the sport. We're all here, and we are all in it together. And I know that moving forward, we'll all realize that.
I just think in an incredibly emotional situation, as was yesterday with what happened, as the weeks that led up to it have also been incredibly emotional. I think grace for everybody
absolutely
is a little bit
you have to
extended a little bit.
Yep.
And look, if you're going to be a fan of a National Football League team and you are going to turn your Sundays in every Sunday to that organization, and if you're going to go down and you're going to tailgate and you're going to buy your tickets and you're going to buy your gear and you're going to go show up and you're going to buy your drinks and your snacks and all of that stuff, then you certainly have the right to do, in my view, whatever you want to do. Is it something that I would do? No, it wouldn't be. But I also know how many people there knew what happened or the severity of it as it happened. And once they understood the severity of it, perhaps, to the story you just told with your brother, perhaps things are a little bit different. But in the moment, there was a lot caroming towards this. It's a wildly disappointing start to the season.
Yes.
And it's an incredibly emotional time for everybody. And folks here, this is what they do. On Sunday, they watch the Brown and Orange. And they give the organization those Sundays, right? And that's why everything the Haslams are trying to do here, and why, to Nathan's point earlier, like, we trust your guys' plan. Here's every single thing you need to execute this plan, right? And so I can't imagine how emotional it is for ownership to see all of that, and players, the emotion that they've put into it, and all of it. And I just think it's just like it uses social media thing. I taught this lesson to my kid the other day. I said, listen, don't text with emotion to your buddies. Don't tweet or he snaps. Don't
or
snap with emotion or your significant other. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, take a beat. And so I think yesterday, for everybody, extend some grace. Extend some grace to the fans. Fans, extend some grace to the players. You're all going to have each other's back going forward.
We're all in it together.
Yes.
These are
we all want the same thing.
All want the same thing.
So many different circumstances bleeding into one. You all want the same thing, but in an emotional state, mistakes were made from everybody. And we'll all be fine going forward.
Let me say this, too. I also commend players who stand up for their brother. Truly.
Sure.
You know what? I'd want someone to have my back as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Those
are the guys that I go to war with. Those are the guys, I hate that analogy, but those are the guys that I come to work with every day.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that I work in this building for countless hours every day. I want those people to have my back, and I would have the same for my coworker and my friend as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it is a game, but it is an emotional game.
Yeah.
It is obviously very physical, a violent game. You know, I think everybody last year was so magical as well, and this comes on the heels of that. Last year we were 8-1 at home.
Yeah.
Our fans, when they came out on a Sunday last year, they saw the Browns win, or they came out on a Thursday night for that unbelievable night in December. They saw the Browns win, and now you're 0-3 at home. You're 1-6 overall. The quarterback who was to be that quarterback that ushered you into a Super Bowl era is hurt again and didn't look like he was going to do that were he not injured. And that the questions were going to be, is he going to start next? We were already at that point of it. That I think there are a lot of emotions in the city. And I think, people were so invested in the Guardians, and then that's the crazy thing about the playoffs, right? It's over.
It's done.
It's over. And we all had a lot of fun with that. So you lose that on Saturday. You lose again on Sunday. And I think there's just a lot of emotion. There's so much bigger picture around the whole situation, which we're all quite aware of. It ends up being a tough situation. It's a little bit of a cauldron. And, I think everybody needs to, as you said, we got 2 more home games. Take a deep breath. Everybody wants the same thing. I want this team to win the Super Bowl. You want this team to win the Super Bowl. You want this team to win the Super Bowl.
I have literally daydreamed and lost focus on where I am every day of my life thinking about that.
Exactly.
I'm not
and
kidding.
so I'm sure true of many of our
kidding.
listeners.
There hasn't been a
70,000 people in that stadium that feel the same.
While working out, while walking down the street, while buying groceries,
beach, to be
while
fair.
sitting while sitting on a plane at 35,000 feet. There has not been a day where I haven't gone there in my head, right? Where I haven't had, even in the last year, where I haven't said to myself, man, if we only had the Texans at home last year in January, I know we would have won.
I
know what I'm saying?
I think about it too, and I always come back to I want to be there for a home playoff game.
That's right. Give me one of those.
I was there for the last home playoff win, and it was phenomenal.
I bet.
I still remember it like it was yesterday, and I sat behind a massive steel support girder and had to crane my neck like this to see the field, but it was awesome.
Of course.
And we're going to get there again.
Yes.
Leaf Filter, the official gutter guard of your Cleveland Browns. Go to leaffilter.com/Go Browns to schedule your free gutter inspection and receive your exclusive promo offer. That's leaffilter.com/Go Browns. Visit today. In addition to that, new Rumpke Recycling Resource Center, one-of-a-kind facility located right here in Ohio, can process 250,000 tons of material annually, over 50 Ohio counties. Learn more about how you can help keep our communities clean and green by visiting rumpke.com. Second hour coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, second hour, Cleveland Browns Daily. Ready to give your home the facelift it deserves at Renew Home Exteriors. If you got the deal you've been waiting for. Right now, no money down. Get 0% interest for 5 years on all roofing and siding jobs. You combine that roofing and siding project, and Renew is going to take an additional 5% off. That's right, no money down, 0% interest for 5 years, and 5% off when you knock off both jobs at once. Don't wait. Upgrade your home and save big with Renew Home Exteriors. Visit RenewEstimate.com to book today. Renew Home Exteriors, superior products and superior service. Second hour of the program here on a Reaction Monday edition of the program. Time for one thought around the league. Hello, Gibby.
Hi, boys. Obviously, we would normally do this on Tuesday, but
That's
the
right.
Hoff will join us tomorrow. He and Chris Rose on the call yesterday. Scarves, everything. I can't even imagine what the stories are going to come out from their little escapade over the pond, across the pond, I should say.
Hoff's may have like European citizenship.
I feel like dual
part of the
citizenship
EU.
is definitely in play.
Yeah, I think is Britain in the EU or did they Brexit? They Brexit out of the
I think
EU?
they Brexited.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise the Hoff.
Yeah. So the Hoff will join
in the
tomorrow
mix.
at 2:00. He is flying back today.
All right.
So
very good. Very good.
So we're doing one thought today from
Let's do it.
week 7 in the National Football League. Obviously, still some football to be played, but let's react to the Sunday games, and we will start in jolly old England. Jaguars 32, Patriots 16. Pats were up 10-0 early on before 22 unanswered from the Jags in literally 25 minutes, the first 25 minutes of the News 5 Brown show yesterday. So quite a nice little run by the Jags, and they hold on. Nathan Zagurl, one thought from you.
I'm a sucker for this Jags team. I don't know why. I think they've got some good players, and maybe it's fantasy-wise.
Did you see the air yards per route for the rookie?
I love him.
Yeah.
5 targets, 5 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get it. How
Brian
about 10?
Thomas. Yeah.
How about 10 targets? What can you do with 10? Sounds like to me 178 yards,
Yeah.
2 touchdowns.
Right.
I like Brian Thomas a great deal. I still believe in Trevor Lawrence, incredibly efficient this one. Tank Bigsby actually I think maybe gives them more as the primary ball carrier than ETN, and the reason I say that is he is not only does he have home run speed, but he will run you over. In fact, his dominance on the ground compelled Mayo, who seems to be not understand it. I don't know. That
seems out of his depth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could call his players soft.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems like a mess. Drake May is doing all right.
Drake May's
he looks pretty good. 2 games that I've seen him play, he looks really good. I like that they wore the white tops over the gray pant. I thought that look was really cool for them from the New England side of things. Jacksonville at 2-5, they can find their way back. I think that division is very gettable. If Indianapolis is going to continue to force Anthony Richardson on that organization, then they're really gettable. So I think Jacksonville is not done yet at 2-5. It's a lot to dig out of, but I don't think they're done yet. I will tell you this. You can play games in London, I feel like, for the rest of eternity, and I'm going to forget they're on every single Sunday. I don't realize that they're on until it's halfway through.
Really?
I always forget they're on.
Oh, man.
Even though I know they're on, and I know Hoff was calling it, and I was all of it, and it was like third quarter. I'm like, oh, God, they're playing the London game. I forget every single Sunday. It's just body clock not locked into it.
I love getting to wake up. Like on the ride down, I was Hoff and Chris Rose. I was giving some live texting, getting some responses back from the booth.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved it. And it's
I like
Sunday
it. Can I get someone else other than the Jags? Can I watch a different
It's a good
team?
point because they're not going to move there.
Amen, Gibby.
So I don't know why they keep force feeding Jacksonville to London. I don't know what
Yes.
that's about. Because in the old days, I got it because they were considering moving there. Now I don't know why it has to be them every week.
Yeah, I and this is maybe I'm just aging out, or sometimes
Aging
the
out?
job.
We're not
gets
replacing
me.
you.
The
You're still
job-
spry and
Hold on,
bouncy and
let me
full of
finish.
life, full of life.
I have full. I turned in an incredible
Zest.
performance on Saturday night. That was, of
course, you did.
Performance of a man of much younger years.
Least surprising thing ever.
But I like the Sunday. I wish the Sunday schedule was a 9:30 window, a 1 window, a 4 window, and then give me one that starts like at 7:30.
And then that's it.
It is so hard unless I am so invested, which I can only imagine being really our game at this point, or maybe an awesome Niners game. I would want to stay up and watch the whole thing, but even then, it's hard for me to watch a full Sunday night game after the whole day of Sunday.
I love that 7:30 idea because then hey, by the way, the local news can come on at 11.
By the way, Monday night
like
should be 7:30
it benefits
too.
everyone.
Yeah, they should. I agree with you. I can't do both. I either have to choose the 4 o'clock window or the 8 o'clock window. I can't do both of those games.
But what
It's
would
too much.
compel you in the 8 o'clock window to stay with it till 11:30?
A team I'm invested in, or a team with. I mean, I can't even unless we're playing. I'm not
Right.
sticking around.
Right, but a 7:30 start,
7:30,
you got a pretty good shot.
You got a chance. But I mean, you're bouncing around. I mean, the baseball was intriguing this weekend, so I watched some of that. So that was bouncing into that. Yeah.
All right, onward we go here on one.
Real quick on that one. Sorry, just to jump in. Since listen, you got to get till 3 o'clock. So let's take something that's topical. Did you guys see Belichick on McAfee today? Because we had talked about Mayo and the soft comment.
Yes.
I didn't. No.
Belichick, quote, "The Patriots led the league last year in rushing defense. This year they're way down in the 20s. It's the same guys. They're not soft. That's a tough group." So he was not pleased at all with that. And then he cannot stand the Jets at all, and he loved that they got crushed. They looked a lot better under Robert Saleh, if you ask me. And he's like, the Jets are the Jets, and Woody's Woody. Jeez.
Holy cow! I thought Mayo was his handpicked guy. I thought that was he was the guy waiting in the wings because other teams wanted to hire him. I wonder if he was Kraft's guy, but not Bill's.
That's what it
seems like.
Feels like, yeah.
Well, woof. The Falcons went back to being gutless. Seahawks 34, Falcons 14. Seattle on top of the NFC West at 4-3. Gutless Falcons 4-3 as well. 2-3 at home, 2-0 away from the ATL. Bo Bishop, one thought from you.
This was the most stupefying score of Sunday to me. Not the result. I mean, certainly Seattle is good, and I thought that, you summed it up great. They're fun, but they're not really great. They're good, but not great. That's kind of what they are. I mean, they lost their previous 3 coming into this one. They lost it at the Lions. They got beat at home by the Giants, and then beat at home by the Niners last 2 times out. So the idea that they were going to fly across the country and beat an Atlanta team that feel like it was finding its footing, and not only beat them but hammer them, it's really the most stupefying result of the weekend for me. Not that they won. Again, their quality, I get it. But just that they slumped them is hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah, Falcons became gutless again.
Nathan,
one thought.
This is a classic turnovers matter game. I mean, you're talking about Falcons outgained them. Falcons ran 32 times for 155 yards and a touchdown, 4.8 yards a carry. They outgained them in every facet, but Kirk Cousins turned the ball over 3 times. The Seahawks did not turn the ball over once. Another thing, and I just have to say this because it's starting to get to the point with me where it's driving me completely insane. And yes, we're going to go ahead and dive into this. He's a Buckeye, so maybe Buckeye people want to hear this as well. But can somebody explain to me how Jackson Smith and Jigba only is allowed to run like 1-yard routes?
It's crazy.
I wish I could. 3
catches, 9 yards in this one. He's only even averaged 10 yards a catch in 2 weeks this season. 9.5, 9.8, 6.4. He had a game where he had 12 targets, 8 catches for 51 yards, 4 catches for 31 yards.
It's crazy.
3 catches for 9 yards.
I mean, does he only run sideline routes? Because that's the only thing Ohio State seems to do with their wideouts.
Yeah, they don't use the middle of the field. Just keep everything on the perimeters.
Is it all sideline?
No, it is not. It's
strange. It's very strange. He's much better than what they have him doing.
Yeah, I don't get it. That's it.
All right, up next, we thought this one was going to be a good one. It lived up to the hype. The Green Bay Packers are 5-2. Jordan Love continuing to excite and impress. He takes down C.J. Stroud and the Texans 24-22. Both teams are 5-2 on the football season. Nathan, one thought from you.
I believe I had this. What I'm upset about is that we just needed.
Oh, I'm so upset about the scores.
Can we just get one more point here?
So upset.
And you had every opportunity to do it as well.
Yeah. Sad.
I got to tell you, my one thought coming out of this is that C.J. Stroud, to be that guy that we all want him to be and think he can be, you've got to be able to elevate. And it should not be as simple as the fact that Nico Collins plays and you're good, and when he doesn't, he had more. I read a stat. I think as many passing yards to Nico Collins as he's had in like the last couple of games combined.
It would seem to be
just
right.
to Nico Collins.
Yeah.
They're 10 of 21 for 86 yards in a day where Mixon's running the ball great. You run for 142 on the ground. It's stupefying. And I would say on the other side with Jordan Love, maybe Jaden Reed's a guy that would start on Houston, but the rest of them probably not. And he's still out there getting it done, slinging it, and he is not afraid to throw the ball. Turn the ball over, but he is not afraid to throw the football.
Yeah. This is the first time that I've been a little bit concerned with what I saw from CJ. You mentioned statistically just a disaster, but also like they still have Stephon Diggs. They still have Dalton Schultz is still there. Like they still got a couple of guys that you could rely upon, and you should be able to move the ball down the field a little bit, and they just couldn't. So I think that there is, whether he was just used to seeing him over-reliant, whatever, I still think he's great. And I still think he'd go very highly if you're redrafting the NFL. But this is now a little bit of a trend now where without Nico Collins, they've taken a major step.
I think this is what it was. He averaged 278 yards a game with Nico Collins in the lineup. And in the 2 games without Nico Collins in the lineup, he's thrown for exactly 278 yards combined.
Yeah,
that was the stat.
That ain't it. LaFleur can coach.
Coach of the year. I'm feeling good about
that
it.
guy can flat
Hold
coach.
on.
I'm feeling good.
Did you have Jordan as your comeback player of the year?
I had, let's hold please. I had Love as the MVP of the National Football League,
I knew you had
and
him winning
LaFleur as the coach of the year.
Yeah.
I will say there's a caveat to that. He can coach in the regular season.
It's a regular season award.
He is. He's the Lenny Wilkins of the NFL.
It's weird that they would lose as much as they have at home, with even when Rodgers was there and he's winning MVPs, and San Francisco would come in and beat him. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they would lose in the wild card.
Yeah.
By the way, little schedule news. Week 9, the NFL is starting to move things around. Colts Vikings goes to Sunday Night Football.
Oof.
Jags Eagles was the original Sunday.
What
night.
was?
Jags Eagles.
I'd much rather watch Jags Eagles.
Jags Eagles than Anthony Richardson.
It's Colts Vikings now, kids.
Oof.
Huh.
That's strange.
Yes. So
are they going to mandate that Flacco plays in that game?
Great question.
I feel like you need
Good
to.
question. I don't know. I think there were definitely some better options. I wonder if Fox must have protected Lions Packers.
Probably.
Speaking of Flacco, on the Manningcast tonight.
Yeah, he is. They're doing a bit where like all the people who hurt him, so it's like Belichick and Ed Reed and Flacco.
It's be great. Yeah, Ed Reed. Ed Reed
Ed
still
Reed's
to this
always good.
day wore one of the coolest hats I've ever seen. It was at Edgerrin James's Hall of Fame party, and it was like a wooden hat. It was kind of like a modern sombrero.
Okay.
Smaller than that, but just a hat with a
Yeah,
stripe,
yeah.
and it was like this beautiful wood hat.
Oh, he did.
A wood
Yeah,
hat?
like he had a fabric stripe around it, that
Yeah.
kind of hat, but it was like this beautiful
How could
wood.
how could it have been comfortable?
I don't know. Maybe the inside was like lined with something soft and it had a hard exterior shell. I don't know. It was
like that's not breathable.
And then he was like DJing in it. It was unbelievable.
Not a breathable fabric.
No, it's not a modern fabric.
Up next,
it was like a clog if a clog was a hat.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Fighting Yellowstones, the Colts somehow this had to be the most ugly of ugly games yesterday around the National Football League. 16-10, Colts beat the Dolphins. I don't know how the Colts keep trotting Richardson out, but they do. Bo Bishop, one thought from you as the Colts go to 4-3.
I'm going to give you two stats. 1 for 11 and 1 for 8. 1 for 11, Jalen Waddle. 1 for 8, Tyreek Hill. They had a bye week.
4 targets. By the way, 0 targets in the first half of the game.
You had a bye week, Mike McDaniel. You had a bye week.
0
and you
targets.
Can't scheme up something to get them the ball. That's malfeasance on his part. And I think every sort of genius, whatever he is, I think it's
organizational malfeasance as
Wow.
well. If your offense was this dependent on Tua, you needed to get somebody who could at least give you 60% of Tua.
That's crazy.
They had
2
4
targets for Tyreek Hill and 2 for Jalen Waddle.
and 0 in the first half. I'll say it again.
Yeah, that's crazy.
0
And
targets.
Anthony Richardson is not an NFL quarterback.
The charade.
It's done.
You got to play Joe Flacco.
It's done. Yeah, they're 4-3. They can win that division. Like, go play Flacco. You'll win 10 games.
Up next, another game that lived up to the billing and then some. The Detroit Lions hand the Minnesota Vikings their first loss of the season. Detroit now atop the NFC Norris division at 5-1. They beat the Vikes 31-29. Nathaniel, one thought.
Good game. Very good game. We liked this one. We saw how it was going to go, and we did. Jared Goff needs to be in the MVP consideration.
He was on pace to have 3 straight games of quarterback rating of 150 or more.
Well, he hit
What did he
140
finish yesterday?
140.
So at one point though he was above 1 because he was like 17 of 18.
So here's what he's done in recent games. Here are his last 4 games. 18 of 23 for 199, 2 touchdowns, and a 114 rating, 114. 18 of 18 for 292, 2 touchdowns, and a 155.8. 18 of 25 for 315, 12.6 yards an attempt, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 153.8. And this one was, again, I don't understand how the ratings work. This was 22 out of 25, 280, 2 touchdowns, 88% completions, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and a rating of 140.
He's incredible.
Incredible.
All right, this is a hot take. I got a big
And I
picture
loved
for you.
him. Pull the tape out. Who liked Jared Goff the most in the world in that year?
Yeah.
He would have been a
people always disrespected him when he was with the Rams. He was incredible. I just thought that was such an incredible get back for Detroit. You know, LA wins, they won the Super Bowl, Stafford was great, but you got like a franchise quarterback and first round picks on the way back. Like that's perfectly executing the trading of a franchise quarterback at the right time to the right team for the right compensation.
I think people forget that he was a 2-time Pro Bowler with the Rams.
Yes, they do. They did. They thought he was trash because McVay gave up on him.
Here's what he did. Here are the 3 seasons prior to him being traded because he wasn't good enough for the Rams. 65% completions, 4,688 yards, 32 touchdowns, 12 picks, and a 101 rating. The next year, 63% completions, 4,638 yards. This one not as good, 22 touchdowns, 16 picks. And then the final year was 67% completions, 4,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 13 picks. So in that stretch, 74 touchdowns, 41 picks, almost 2-1, 66% completions. And he threw for averaging in that span 4,400 yards a season. And he was thrown asunder. He then goes there, their first year in Detroit, they go 3-10-1. He goes 67%, 32-45, 19 touchdowns, 8 picks. 2022, 65, 4,438, 4,438 yards. He's got 4 seasons under his belt with 4,400 yards or more passing. 29 touchdowns, 7 picks. Last year, 67.3, 45.75, 30 touchdowns, 12 picks. This year, right now, he's completing 74% of his passes, 1,610 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4 picks. He leads the league in yards per attempt, 9.3. He leads the league in air yards per attempt, 9.3, and rating 111.5. He just usurped Joe Burrow, who had a solid game against us.
Yep.
Because he was leading at 110.
All right, you guys ready for this take?
Yep.
I want you to think. I need your full attention for this. This Detroit Lions team is the best marriage of team, way it's constructed, personality, brand, attitude, all of it, and city since the 85 Bears. Campbell is Ditka.
I love his speeches post-game.
They're so great. They got to win it. The Bears won it, and so it works, and they're revered. Forever.
I feel like if you took his operation, that whole operation you're describing, if that was there, here, Pittsburgh,
sure,
Buffalo,
yes, it's one of 5 or 6 places that it could work, but that's one of them.
No doubt. Well, it is working.
Yes, and I think because they've waited so long, it's even better.
As much as he symbolizes it, and I'm trying to think if I can disagree with you, and I don't know if I can.
I mean,
their coaching staff can take them out of the game as quickly as.
But that's what makes it.
That's why they're fun.
That's why I
gritty,
think it's perfect for Detroit.
It's raw.
They just feel like it's perfect.
Yeah,
for Detroit, all of it. Even Goff, the California kid, cast off, finds home in Detroit. Like the whole story, it's crazy.
And how about the fact that Goff did this in a game in which Sam Laporta caught 1 pass for 25 yards, Jamison Williams caught 1 pass for -4 yards, and he still goes 22 of 25 for 280.
Gibbs is unbelievable. I mean, he was.
We have additional news from around the league. From Dolphins head coach moments ago, Mike McDaniel told reporters Monday Tua will practice Wednesday for the first time since September 12th. They are hopeful he will play Sunday against Arizona.
God bless him. I hope he's healthy. I hope he can stay healthy.
Me too.
Stay upright.
He will.
Get rid of the ball quickly.
He will not wear a Guardian cap. He said it is his personal choice.
All right.
All right, back to it, gentlemen. Eagles 28, G-Men 3. Eagles, Saquon Barkley reunion tour success. Eagles now 4-2, the G-Men 2-5. Bo, one thought from you.
Did you guys see the clip going around of the general manager from off-season Hard Knocks when John Mara is standing in his office and he says, I just got to say it. Like he's letting the guy run his business. He says, I just got to say it. I don't like the idea of Saquon playing in Philadelphia. And it goes on, and then the guy, Mara's standing at the back, and he goes, I just got to say it. He is our most popular player by far. And then he left the room. That's how you get fired.
Let the countdown begin on that.
There's 1,000, but I mean, like
0-4 at home too.
Did you see this clip?
No.
When he's in the room?
No, but
it's going around.
I get it.
And he's in the room, and he goes, hey, I just got to say, I don't like the idea. And they're like, I think Chicago's driving up the price, blah, 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 blah. I just got to say, I don't like the idea of him in Philly. And then he goes, I just got to say, guys, he's our most popular player by far. Like, I'll let you do your business. You're my football guys, but
hear me.
Hear what I'm telling you.
Okay.
And then he goes and does that.
Can I give you Saquon Barkley real quickly?
Real quick, because
week 1, we got plenty of time. Week 1.
We don't have time.
109 yards rushing,
breaks still.
23 receiving, 132 total. Week 2, 95 rushing, 21, 116 total. Week 3, 147, 9 receiving, 156 total. Week 4, 84 rushing, 32 receiving, 116 total. Week 5, 18 for 47, 2 catches, 7 yards, 47 yards rushing, 54 total. That was against us.
Yeah.
We've done some good things defensively.
We have.
The last few weeks.
Yeah.
We played winning defense in this game.
Yes.
You have 21 to the Bengals. You have 20 to the Eagles. That's winning defense. Then he goes after our game, 17 for 176, 11 yards receiving, so 187 total, 176 rushing. There is one anomaly there. The Browns set out to stop Saquon Barkley. They did that. This defense is playing pretty well, but I thought that was worth talking about, and he's been spectacular.
Up next, Ramit taking down the Raiders. By the way, Aiden O'Connell to IR. He will miss 4 to 6 weeks. The Rams win 20-15. One real quick thought from you.
How do you not win by more than 7?
Oh, dude, you saw it. Did you see this? Like, they had the ball inside the red zone. They threw, Stafford threw a pick. Like, they were. This was never a 5-point game.
Never.
And somehow it is. No, I'm with you. Suck.
Next, everybody in Washington holding their breath for their starting QB. Commies
He's okay,
take care of
right?
the
His mom
Panthers.
tweeted out that he's okay.
He's going to be all right.
Is
he
he okay?
walked back out. He's going to be fine. You know what I think was crazy?
Commies win 40-7.
Canales comes out afterwards and says, Andy Dalton's our starter. Why?
Why? Why?
Why?
By the
At
way,
this point, why?
how did he light up the Raiders and now he can't do anything?
It's a great question.
It's really wild.
There's a lot of tape on Andy Dalton. Like, you should know what he can do and can't do.
For sure, but if you look
Yeah.
at his game, so he comes in against the Raiders, goes 319, 3 touchdowns. Then Bengals was still pretty good, 220, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Then the Bears, it's 18 to 28 for 136 and a pick, rating of 61.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's the Falcons, 26 to 38, 221, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 78.9. And then this is 11 of 16 for 93 yards, 2 picks, and a rating of 44. I mean, his rating's gotten worse basically every single week. But how does he do that to the
I don't know.
the Raiders?
Commies are good.
The Commies are good. Their defense is starting to come together. They're
Undefeated in gold britches, too, by the way.
They look. That's what they need to wear all
That's
the time.
it. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
The Niners lose. Chiefs get them yet again. Chiefs 28, Niners 18. Bo Bishop.
Mahomes and Kelsey statistically aren't doing anything except winning.
Yeah.
This win.
Garbage.
This win. Just win
Is
every week.
Patrick
and-
Mahomes right now a top 10 quarterback in the NFL?
Yes, he's the one. If you were redrafting the league, everyone would pick him number 1. He is 100% still the best quarterback in the league. They just win every week. They just do. In San Francisco, it's starting to stack injury-wise.
Yes.
Ayuk now, like, it's just you go back.
Ayuk's done.
He's done. You go back to the beginning of the year and you think about going into that first weekend when McCaffrey was going to play, not going to play, and now here we sit. No McCaffrey, no Ayuk. I mean, it's
Let me see what their upcoming schedule is. They're 3-4. They beat the Seahawks. They lost to the Rams, lost to Cardinals, 1-3 in the division. They go Cowboys. This looks like Sunday Night Football to me next week at
Yes.
home. At Bucks, home Seahawks, at Packers, at Bills. This is not an easy schedule.
Wolf.
no.
Then it finishes home Bears, home Rams, at Dolphins, home Lions, at Cardinals. Not an easy schedule. You wonder if by the time that we're talking November is when they thought, like late November, late November, you lose Cowboys, you lose Bucks, you lose Seahawks again. Are you even going to bring back McCaffrey?
Just sitting there on that fantasy team.
Final
Purdy was
one.
bad in this one, too.
He was bad.
Sunday Night Foosball.
Oh, also, shout out Kareem Hunt. It's so the same. 22 carries this week. Still no run longer than 13 yards. But
Yep.
he'll get you 3.5.
He'll
22
get you
for
that,
78,
baby.
2 touchdowns. Like, good for
It's
him.
28 plays where you don't have to throw it, and it goes positive. Is it 8 yards? No, but it's 3.5, and it's positive. And 3.5 times 3 is what? Over 10.
Yeah.
That works.
He had, the week before, he had 27 carries for 102 yards and a touchdown against New Orleans, and his long run on 27 carries was 8 yards.
Squealers
27 carries.
37, Jets 15.
Rodgers is now the most unlikable quarterback in the NFL, and he's not good. And they had that game. They were going to win that
Yeah,
game.
they
It was
were.
about to get. They could have gone into
Coulda
the
got
half
chippy.
up 22-6.
Yep.
And he throws a bad pick to an undrafted free agent who picked him off twice in the game, by the way.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it was getting Pittsburgh. It was boober.
No, they were not
central.
happy.
It was
into,
over.
It turned into kumbaya at the
A
end,
love
but
fest.
it was not at halftime.
No, and
No.
If Rodgers had not blown
No,
it
yeah.
and put the nail in the coffin, it could have been
Yeah. Pittsburgh just wins.
Yeah.
They just do. They're 5-2. Doesn't matter. They just win. Just figure it out. And they won going away in this one. Boost your game day this season. Ballybet Sportsbook app. Place your first bet of $50 or more. You get $150 back in bonus bets. Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. We'll play a little overreaction or reality coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. If a car, truck, or motorcycle accident caused you injury, call the injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case review. That's Elk & Elk, proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Time for a little overreaction or reality. Hello, Gibby.
Gentlemen, little NFL fun.
Let's do it.
Monday. Overreaction or reality, Jordan Love is better than C.J. Stroud. Nathan.
I don't think it's overreaction. I think that would probably be a fairly, if you were saying you got to start a team, now take age out of it, I think you could have some people that would be very much on the Jordan Love bandwagon. So I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy.
It's not crazy.
Look at what he did the end of last year.
I know. He was really great. I don't think we're there yet, but I think that he is. Love and Stroud are in the same category. They are brilliant, bright young quarterbacks who most teams in the league would die to have.
Yes.
Either one of them. So, it's splitting hairs. You'd probably take CJ over Jordan, age-wise, size-wise, that stuff. But at the same time, Jordan is very, very good. And Green Bay's ability to go from Favre to Rodgers to Love over 40 years without skipping a beat is staggering. No one else has done that.
Hate it.
Indy tried to do it. Indy went Manning, Luck. But to do that, 3 of them?
Yeah.
Their whole careers?
It's craziness.
Crazy.
Yep. More importantly, knowing when to part ways.
And it was awkward on all of them. It was awkward with Favre to Rodgers. It was awkward with Rodgers to Love, but
it worked.
It works. The idea that they could identify Jordan Love, it's not like everybody knew Rodgers was going to be good. He dropped in the draft because nobody needed a quarterback. Fine. But the idea that you could identify Jordan Love from Nevada and then sit him for 3 years.
Utah State.
And then, was it Utah State or Nevada? It's
Utah State.
One of those.
Sorry.
And let him sit for all those years and then play him, and then he's great.
It's wild.
It's crazy.
I still think your goal was to win the Super Bowl with Rodgers, but
agree.
if he wins a Super Bowl, then you say success.
Yeah, and then if you're Packer Nation, you've won a Super Bowl with each one of them.
Which would be wild.
They're both from California, too.
Look at them.
That's our guy.
What happened?
He cut it off.
That's a choice. He looks great.
That was
it's
a
hell of
choice.
a choice.
Yeah.
It was a choice.
He was unrecognizable.
I saw you look at him. I'm like, that's our guy.
You look great. I just had no idea.
I appreciate it.
Oh, my gosh. Did not see that coming.
Overreaction to reality. Saints head coach Dennis Allen will be the next head coach to lose his job in the National Football League. Bo Bishop.
Let me just think who's in that conversation.
I'm going to tell you right now, if Jacksonville had lost that game yesterday, someone would have been flying home coach.
I think that's right.
It probably is New Orleans. It's probably New Orleans.
They're decimated.
Yeah.
By
Peterson was
injuries.
very close.
I don't know. I just don't feel like NFL team, I don't think there's a lot of people that get fired midway through the season.
No.
I don't think it's as many as we like.
No, it has to be a total debacle of a situation. You wonder if Callahan in Tennessee, could they be like, let's admit our mistake here?
Bring Mike back. Mike, will you come back? You come back, please. We miss you.
Let me tell you, I got a text from a big Titans fan who I once had a beef with today. He said, can you please send us Mike Vrabel?
Yeah. Allen feels like the right choice.
Send me back my man, Bill.
Yeah.
Overreaction to reality. Even though they are the lone undefeated team in the NFL, Kansas City is not the best team in the AFC. Nathan Zagura, overreaction or reality?
I mean, until somebody beats them, they are. And they've beaten some pretty good teams.
They are undefeated. They are the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions. This season, they have beaten Baltimore, Cincinnati, the LA Chargers, and the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, their average margin of victory, 43 divided by, they're 6-0. It's 7 points a game. They're
clutch.
Their average margin of victory, 7 points a game.
Yeah. No, they are. They're the best team in football. They go Raiders, Bucks, Broncos before they play the Bills. They're at the Bills on November 17th.
That'll be a good one.
So they easily could be 9-0 by the time they go to Buffalo.
Lions are pretty good too right now.
The only thing is KC got that early bye. That hurts.
They're scheduled. Then it's after the Bills, it's Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, us, Texans, Steelers, Broncos. Remember at the beginning of the year we said they go like 13-4.
Yeah, no.
And it's really in play.
It's
Overreaction or reality, only one team from the NFC West will make the playoffs. Bo Bishop.
All right, I got to see where we're at.
All right, so here's your current NFC standings. You ready?
All right.
If
so
it
you're
were to
gonna
end today, Lions, Commanders, Bucks, and Seahawks would be the division winners.
NFC West.
No. But I'm saying,
But are you saying you said to make the playoffs?
All right. So here's what it comes down to. It comes down to no, 4 will not, or only one will make it.
Only one team from the NFC
Yes,
West.
fact.
Give it. That's why I was going to paint the whole playoff
Fact,
picture before
fact.
it got knocked out of me.
Fact, because 3 from the NFC North
So,
are going to make it. I think
reality.
Philly's going to make it. So I think it's reality.
Niners are 3-4 with a plus 22-point differential through 7 games.
I will take the Niners over Seattle. I think 49ers will win this division at like 10-7 or 11-6. And
You think they're going to get to 11 wins?
I do. They'll get to 10.
The Seahawks would even be, if the Niners replace them, the Seahawks would be out right now because they would be behind both the Bears and the Eagles. Bears right now would be, if the playoffs started today, Lions 1 seed, Commanders 2 seed, Bucks 3 seed, Seahawks 4 seed, Vikes 5, Packers 6, Bears 7. Currently all four.
Yep.
NFC North teams are in. Eagles would be the first one out at 8. By the way, doesn't it feel like we're getting to the point very soon where it's going to be 8 in and nobody's going to get
Yes,
by?
it's stupid that they went to 7 to begin with. Yes.
Final overreaction or reality, Jared Goff is the second best QB in the NFL through 7 weeks. I would put
So
Allen
who are we
probably
saying
ahead
is
of
one?
him.
Is Allen?
I would assume Allen. See, we had this conversation. Gabe's like, well, who's number 1? I'm like, is it...
I mean, from a
is
Goff
it Lamar?
leads
Is it
the
Allen?
league in passer rating. Burrow is second. Allen is 4th, but Allen has to do a lot more. And up until they got Amari with a lot less. I think Jared Goff, and you tell me what you think about this if I rephrase this. Jared Goff is in the best quarterback situation in the National Football League at the moment, and he's taking full advantage of that situation. They have a lot of weapons. They're healthy predominantly, and he's taking full advantage. He's still thrown 4 picks. Like, Burrow is 14 touchdowns, 2 picks.
I mean, is it... Burrow's in a pretty good situation.
I don't think his offensive line is quite as sturdy
as
Detroit's with Sewell and Decker at tackle, and I don't think he doesn't have that type of front, and they don't have that type of back. But his receivers, I would say, are slightly better. But St. Brown and Williams are really good.
Yeah, he's in a good situation.
He's in a good spot,
and I think he is good. I think it's just a lot of goodness.
That's it for overreaction or reality.
All right, there you go.
That's good.
All right,
like
we'll
that
get your
segment, by the
great
way.
clips. Clip of the game coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Want to get your kid involved with the Dog Pound? Join Junior Browns Backers, presented by University Hospitals Rainbows Babies and Children in association with Cardinal Credit Union, the Cleveland Browns official kids club for kids 4 to 12. Enjoy events, activities, and more. Visit juniorbrownsbackers.com to join today. Now the great clips, great clip of the game. Great clips, it's going to be great. Nick Chubb's first touchdown in 398 days since being gone.
Nick Chubb dots the I. Pitch left. Nick Chubb running left. Nick Chubb is in! Touchdown! Nicholas Jamal Chubb. Welcome back, and welcome back to the end zone.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, that with all of the rest of it, that is a hell of a moment to get Nick back and to get him into the end zone. Pretty awesome.
His intro was a very special moment. Goosebumps. The crowd was unbelievable. It was awesome. And then to see him get to score was great. Obviously, wish we saw more of him in the second half and that things were more competitive. But, yeah, that was a great moment to get him back and to get him into the end zone in his return to Huntington Bank Field.
Awesome. We'll get you a couple of scores. That's right, a Monday twofer coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Come out to Panini's in Brunswick this Thursday, 7 to 8 for the Kevin Stefanski Show. Stop by and meet DeJuan Jones, and it's brought to you by Bud Light. We got a duo of scores.
We do. Doubleheader Monday night, but it's not really a doubleheader. Simultaneous Monday Night Football. Let's kick things off with the first one, the main event. Baltimore visiting Tampa Bay, 8:15 ABC, ESPN. Bo Bishop.
I wish the hook wasn't in the mix here. I really do. I think Baltimore. I think Baltimore wins this game, and I think they win by 4. Baltimore 31, Tampa Bay 27.
I feel like Baltimore is going to have a lead, but there's a comeback scenario here
Feels
where you can
dying
get
for
to that hook is going to matter. It feels like to me.
It does, yeah.
So I will take Ravens 78,574.
Okay.
Bucks 78,571.
I like it.
And then at 9 o'clock, if you have ESPN Plus, congratulations on all your successes. The Los Angeles Chargers are in Arizona. Again, you can only watch it on ESPN Plus. Stupid. Zagura.
I like how they were acting like this was like they were doing you a favor. Did you guys see the ad from ESPN this weekend? Like,
no, you actually
and the first ever ESPN Plus game is if the audience going, that's all we've ever wanted. Is another
Chargers
streamer
and
that I got to watch.
Woo! I don't know. Harbaugh knows how to win. I think
by a billion.
I think they win.
30.
Chargers by $1 billion. Chargers
by 2 or more.
Yeah, that would be the same. All right. We'll do this again tomorrow.
All
Next
right.
Level's coming up next. Thanks for listening.